Police officers sure are law enforcement officials who are tasked with maintaining public order, protecting individuals and property, and preventing and investigating crime. However, there have been instances where police officers have abused their power, used excessive force, and violated people's rights, particularly those from marginalized communities.
Oh, somebody help me!
These actions can lead to distrust and fear of law enforcement, exacerbating already strained relationships between the police and the communities they serve. But can they exploit such power? What are the legal penalties if they do so? And if the police abuse his here power, would they be treated differently? Stick around as we take a closer look at two of the most brutal cases that could make us think of cops as judicial pillars twice. Our first case kicks off with Sergeant Mario Cardona versus Daniel Garza. Daniel Garza was helpless after being thrown and pinned to the ground. Officer Mario Cardona, who Garza had known for years, was on the verge of breaking his wrist. Garza recalled, "I was trying to be a man and trying to hold in the pain, but man, that wrist lock hurts." He's just bending it and bending it. But what compelled Cardona to go so far? It turns out that his actions were motivated by rage toward Garza, whom he accuses of attempting to kidnap his stepdaughter. Are cops bestowed such authority? Seems that the two men had quite the history, with Garza having previously dated Cardona's stepdaughter, Naomi Villanueva. The relationship had hit rock bottom, with Villanueva moving out of her parents' house to live with a friend. In May 2015, Garza allegedly took Villanueva without her consent from her friend's house and brought her to her parents' house in Whittier, where Cardona lived across the street. Cardona saw Garza doing pilates in his yard and ordered him to come down to the street. As soon as Garza came down, Cardona began his assault. According to Garza, he was not the aggressor, and a neighbor who witnessed the incident testified in Garza's favor. The sheriff deputies who arrived at the scene noticed redness on Garza's face, bruises and abrasions to his knees, and redness on his wrists. Garza filed a complaint against Cardona, which led to a federal lawsuit against Cardona, Chief Beck, and the city of Los Angeles. Garza alleged false arrest, unreasonable search and seizure, excessive force, assault and battery, negligence, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. A video of the incident filmed by one of Garza's neighbors was also presented at the trial. They had made up a story of what had happened to make him look like a hero and me look like a criminal, says Daniel Garza. The U.S. District Judge Stephen V. Wilson presided over the hearing where the former deputy city attorney, Michael Amarian, spoke in defense of the city. The jury found Cardona to be acting with malice as an off-duty officer, and on June 26, 2017, they ordered him to pay Garza $210,000 in damages. On top of that, the court added another $664,000 in attorney's fees and $26,000 for post-trial costs. The City of Law refused to take responsibility for Cardona's actions and even refused to indemnify the officer, forcing him to pay for the charges out of his pocket. Jim DeSimone, Garza's attorney, claims, "This is the problem with the left. This is why people are out on the street." The case is a clear example of police officers using excessive force against individuals and getting away with it. In this case, however, Garza was able to stand up to the authorities who violated his rights, and he was able to win his lawsuit against Cardona. The jury's decision to find Cardona guilty of acting with malice sends a strong message that law enforcement officers cannot get away with using excessive force against citizens. It is worth noting that this case also highlights the importance of civilians being aware of their rights and standing up to law enforcement officers when they feel their rights have been violated. Garza's decision to file a complaint and a lawsuit against Cardona shows that individuals can take action against police brutality and excessive force. As more and more people become aware of their rights and are willing to take action, law enforcement officers will be held accountable for their actions, and if you sue a cop in LAA for excessive force, you are in for a wild ride. However, Garza's decision to stand up to Cardona and the authorities who violated his rights resulted in a victory for him. sending a strong message that law enforcement officers cannot get away with using excessive force against citizens. The case of Harold Hill is just a perfect example of how our justice system can go wrong. From a gruesome rape and murder to a wrongful conviction, this case definitely ticks all the boxes. So, what underwent? First off, we have the detectives who were assigned to the case, Kenneth Bordeaux and John Halloran, the so-called beacons of justice. They were the ones who got the confession out of Peter Williams, who was later found to be in jail at the time of the crime. So, how did they churn out a false confession of someone who wasn't even there? Hill's confession is also questionable, as he claims that he was physically and mentally abused until he confessed to crimes he didn't commit. Is this the kind of behavior we expect from our law enforcement officers? Moving on to the trial itself. Hill was only 16 years old when the crime was committed, but was tried as an adult at the age of 31. This is an interesting move from the prosecution, considering that neither of the defendants had a criminal record prior to the incident. The jury found Hill and Young guilty of murder, and they were sentenced to life without parole. But 13 long years later, DNA tests revealed that the hair found at the crime scene and the cellular materials under Kathy Morgan's fingernails didn't match either of the defendants. Think of the agony Hill went through for something he didn't do. What made Hill hold on to his life is still astonishing. Despite this evidence, the prosecutors disputed the findings, suggesting that the hairs were unrelated to the crime and that the cellular material could have come from sweat or drool left over by the recovery team. It's shocking that the prosecutors were so stubborn, even in the face of such clear evidence. Harold and Young were eventually released from prison, but tragedy struck when Young was killed in a hit-and-run incident. Hill, however, filed a complaint against the city of Chicago, the police, and the two detectives involved in the case, accusing them of forcing a confession and violating his civil rights. The case was settled for $1.25 million, with Hill receiving $500,000, and the rest going to attorney's fees. It's surprising that the detectives were only asked to pay a measly $7,500 each for their part in this whole debacle. Do you think that is bad? Wait till you hear this. It's also worth noting that Hill was later convicted again for an unrelated armed robbery charge and is currently serving 27 years in prison. But despite this, it's clear that the justice system failed Harold Hill in the past. This case highlights the importance of reforming our justice system to ensure that wrongful convictions don't occur, and that those who abuse their power are held accountable. The case of Harold Hill is a tragedy of errors, starting from the investigation to the trial and subsequent conviction. Being wrongfully imprisoned for 13 years, Hill was not awarded a chance to conform to life outside because he was turned into a criminal by the system. The system absolutely messed the hell out of him, and the cops only paid $7,500 each. When cops do what they did, they need to be locked away for at least as long as the victims they put in jail. What do you think of these cases? Which do you think is most unfair? Sound off in the comments below and make sure to let us know if we missed out on anything. While you are at it, make sure to hit that subscribe and leave a like to never miss an update from us.
What are y'all taking me in for? What did I do?
Operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs or other controlled substances.
No.
A belligerently intoxicated woman is arrested in Ohio after crashing a vehicle while transporting a patient with special needs.
Kelly, okay. I'm gonna have you step out with me, okay? We gotta go. I know. I gotta get you out of here, though, okay?
I know you're not gonna do that.
Yeah, Kelly, we're not laying back down.
All this before she blatantly
Kelly Barton, then 48 years old, was put in a dangerous position by a series of strange happenings. She was on the clock and transporting a patient with special needs when the accident occurred. Kelly slammed into a lamppost while driving. Kelly's untidy and shaky appearance was immediately noticeable to the responding police officers.
I don't know what this is.
She shredded the back of that.
She in the back of my car.
Well, she popped both tires, so I'm afraid she hit something in Blue Ash. So, yep.
I guess it's going to be by the roundabout.
That's what I think too. Well, you're saying she came Glendale Milford? Yeah, be up. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's what she told me. The driver is in her car. Okay, so I came to an empty vehicle. All right. the owner of this facility or whatever it is, they transport special needs people.
32, squad dispatch 106.
This driver,
she
is
for 93-year-old female semi-conscious.
Kelly initially disputed responsibility for the collision, but it was later discovered that alcohol was a contributing factor. She denied that she had ever driven under the influence, despite the fact that she was employed as a caregiver. However, video surveillance from a neighboring gas station positively identified her as the driver. As a result, she was accused of driving under the influence while transporting the sick patient, and she also faced charges of ignoring her duty.
Your driver is someone that stays at a shelter?
Huh?
Your driver is somebody who stays at a shelter?
My coworker. She's a coworker.
Okay.
But I'm the driver. That's my car. She in the back
No,
seat
I'm
late.
talking about this one.
This one, yeah, she stays in
She
the
stays
shelter.
at a shelter,
She just got
okay.
the job. Yeah, she just got
We're trying to
hired.
figure out a way, if we got to get her home, we got to figure out
I'll get her.
a
I'll
safe
take her.
place to...
Yeah, she's at the shelter. I know her.
So here's the situation. It's a unique one.
Parkway 31, okay.
This
7 north.
car belongs to a special needs driver service. They drive special needs people around to different places. The driver is heavily intoxicated. We're going to go see what she hit in Blue Ash, but the gentleman that was being driven said she hit a pole. The car's on only one wheel. When I got here, the car is turned off, and this driver is sitting in the passenger seat of a coworker's car that came to pick up the special needs person. So, can we even go the OGI route? Nobody saw her driving. Lady picked her up, said my boss told me to come down here, and
Kelly's behavior took a sudden and unwelcome turn as paramedics arrived to examine her. She started making sexual statements about the responding officers that shocked everyone. Multiple tests conducted by the police confirmed that Kelly's blood alcohol content was far higher than the permissible level.
yeah, let's go ahead and just get roll squad. Hey Kelly,
Yes, sir.
can I have you step out here with me real quick? I'll help you out. I know, here. Give me your hand, and I'm gonna help you out.
Trying.
I know you're trying, but I need you to work with me, okay? So this nice lady can give you a ride home, okay? So go ahead and step out for me, all right?
Officers worked for several minutes to convince Barton to step out of the vehicle.
Kelly, I know you're tired. Here, hold my hand, and I'm gonna get you out, okay? So I need you to come out with me, all right? Because we're gonna work together, okay?
Listen to my partner, please.
Yeah, come on, Kelly. Please. I'm gonna get you these shoes, all right?
Go ahead.
Kelly, knowing that her arrest was likely, persisted in her bold behavior, fighting off the cops as they tried to place her in the police car. At the end of the day, she was arrested for drunk driving. Kelly's arrest antics left a confusing tale in her trail, and if anyone thought she was brazen before, they were shocked by what they saw. Here, 18-year-old Skylar Floss gained notoriety after releasing a video in which she claimed to have fooled a police officer during a DUI stop.
I got out of a DUI and got let off with a warning.
She bragged that she had avoided a DUI charge by using her wit and charm, and that the police officer had even asked her out. A different picture emerged, however, after Deputy Stallman of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office revealed body cam footage.
I blew a 3.8 and he let me off with a f***ing warning and gave me his number and said we should meet for coffee or lunch. He was hot, so I'm getting lunch with him tomorrow.
Skylar was pulled over by Deputy Stallman for weaving on the road, and Stallman voiced his fear that Skylar might be impaired by alcohol. He asked how she was doing and gave her a card with the department's information on it, rather than his personal number.
I'm in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. I pulled you over because you were weaving a little bit back there. Where are you coming from?
I was coming from my friend's house. I actually just got dumped.
Okay.
So I was like crying and like I'm really upset.
Okay. Were you on your phone and stuff too?
I was trying to call him to get a hold of him because my heart hurts.
Okay. Well, I'm just concerned that you were weaving because of alcohol, but if you're on your phone, have you been drinking or anything tonight? No? Okay.
Despite her protest, the officer acted professionally by issuing simply a warning for her own protection. Skylar's video not only showed her bragging about taking advantage of the cops' good nature, but also showed her making up a story about how she blew an astounding 3.8 on a breathalyzer, which could have killed her. As a matter of fact, she was never put through any sort of examination. Skylar's irresponsible behavior at a party before the event was revealed by new evidence.
Sounds like you're having a rough night, so I'm not going to add to that by writing you a ticket or anything, okay? So I'm just going to give you a warning. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure you're okay. You were weaving a little bit, and I just want to make sure you're okay to operate the motor vehicle, and I believe you are. So my information's right here on the front. The reason I stopped you here is on the back. Where we were headed, get there safely, and I'm sorry you're having a bad night.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, well, no, you don't need to apologize. I mean, you were weaving a little bit with no traffic out. I just want to make sure you're okay, that's all.
Skylar eventually confirmed her irresponsible behavior and her fabrication of stories for online attention. Neither she nor Deputy Stallman, who had behaved professionally throughout the incident, faced any legal consequences. The incident acted as a warning against making baseless charges and highlighted the significance of acting responsibly while behind the wheel. Lydia Badillo found herself in a precarious circumstance that differentiated her from the other people. During her effort to sneak 2 undocumented immigrants across the Mexican border, she was caught by Border Patrol agents.
Fine, you're fine. Just come over here to this side. Do you have anything right here?
Oh no, you want
No?
me to open it?
Yeah. And right. Okay.
They're my friends.
Okay, and then who are these?
Who son mis friends?
Okay.
Carmen y Joana.
Okay. Okay. Are these legit? Because they look fake.
I'm guessing, but I met them at Club Fuego.
What-
We're going to Agave. We're gonna go
Okay.
have some drinks.
How long have you met this?
Yeah, tengo como 4 from 5 months. We met them at Club Fuego.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Just wait for me right here, okay? You don't have
looking
anything?
at your Sorry, sir.
What?
I'm looking at your eyes.
Why?
You look pretty handsome.
Oh.
I need to call the cops. Can I just please? I have an autism kid in my house.
Okay.
Please,
Let's do it.
please,
Yes.
please.
Lydia resorted to an ill-conceived approach when her illegal business started to fall apart. She sought to seduce Officer Francis by asking him to wait while she lavished him with praises. This was a mistake on her part. Officer Francis, on the other hand, was not readily persuaded. He began to have doubts about the fake identification cards that Lydia had handed him.
I had 2 investigators
Oh,
today
Okay.
earlier.
Okay.
Can I
Do it, ma'am.
In my
What?
car.
Ma'am.
I just want to.
Estos documentos por un montón de tiempo.
Por un año.
Por un año. Ok. Pues son falsos, ok. Y tener documentos falsos en estados de Texas es un delito. Las ID, a esta te sale a un señor, la tuya. A esta no me sale a nada. Ok, so estas identificaciones son falsas. Ok.
After conducting further research, he discovered that both of the IDs were forged, exposing Lydia's deceptive plan. The 2 women who were traveling with her were revealed to be undocumented immigrants hailing from El Salvador who were caught up in a murky human trafficking operation. These victims were held captive in debt bondages, where they were compelled to perform forced labor and subjected to sexual exploitation in order to repay their traffickers.
Ahora, yo lo que le quiero dar a entender a ustedes de que, so it's clear what's going on now. Well, we already passed that. You had 2 undocumented people in the vehicle. We're past that.
Y ahora
Ma'am,
ya es mi culpa.
Ma'am.
Culpa de eso.
Okay, you're under arrest for human smuggling.
No, sir.
Turn around.
Please.
Turn around. Okay.
Todo por yo manejar.
Turn around. Separate your arms.
Lydia was taken into custody without delay, while the 2 Salvadorian ladies were deported back to their native country, potentially saving them from years of unspeakable torment. The ill-advised attempt that Lydia made to charm her way out of trouble failed tragically, as Officer Francis stayed unwavering in his commitment to The ill-advised attempt that Lydia made to charm her way out of trouble failed tragically, as Officer Francis stayed unwavering in his commitment to enforcing the law and protecting people who are susceptible to being exploited.
Balance?
I do have an autoimmune disease called Behçet syndrome.
Okay.
Yes.
Behçet syndrome?
Behçet syndrome. The last time I was diagnosed, I was about the 3rd person in New Mexico to have it.
Okay.
It's very similar to lupus.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have you try these tests as best you can, and we'll go from there, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel comfortable walking in those shoes?
Yep.
Does your autoimmune disease or whatever it is, does it affect your ability to walk and balance?
At times I do get lesions inside of my intestines. I did go to the doctor last week for a lesion that I have.
Okay, and did they give you something for it? Did you think it's better? They haven't done anything?
The unexpected meeting between Brooke Teague and a police officer took a fascinating turn that worked out well for her. She was initially stopped because of her irregular driving, which raised concerns about possible intoxication or a need for assistance. When Officer Smith pulled Brooke over, she greeted him cheerfully.
Just your eyes, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Try to hold your head still, please. Keep watching it. I need you to look at it.
1, 2, 3. My balance is very bad. 6, 7, 8, 9, after E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q.
Okay, do you know your numbers?
Yes, sir.
Can you count backwards for me? Start at 47 and end at 32, please.
47 to 32?
Yes.
47, 46, 45, 40.
Okay, just do a 47 and stop me at 46.
The breast test is by willingness.
Okay. Go ahead and turn around for me. I'll read you the implied consent and you can decide for yourself. You're not going to...
Brooke claimed multiple times that she had only had one beer and that she had just gotten off the phone with her baby's father, Zachary. Brooke had obviously had more than one drink, but her relationship with the police officer only improved as time went on.
Go to your left. You are under arrest for driving under the influence of an intoxicating liquor or drug. The New Mexico Implied Consent Act requires you to submit to a breath test to determine the alcohol content of your blood. After you take our test, you have the right to choose an additional independent test. If you choose to take this additional independent test, you have the right to a reasonable opportunity to arrange for a physician, a licensed nurse or a laboratory technician or technologist who is employed by a hospital or physician of your own choice to perform an additional chemical test. The cost of this additional test will be paid for by the law enforcement agency, the Albuquerque Police Department. Do you agree to take our test? It will be a breath test. Constant breath. Blow constantly, hard and constantly till the machine stops making noise. Go ahead. Blow, 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 blow. Try it again. And the legal limit in the state of New Mexico is 0.08. Your first breath score was a 0.16, and your second was a 0.16. You're over 2 times. You're at 2 times the legal limit. It's a little bit more than one shot. Okay. 0.08 is the 0.08 is the legal limit. You are going to be transported out to MDC where you'll be booked for DWI. You're also going to be booked for failed to maintain a traffic lane, failed to obey a traffic control device, and for not having your proof.
Brooke failed the sobriety test administered by Officer Smith, resulting in her arrest for DUI despite her laughter and smiles during the tests. The officer remained serious throughout their conversation.
We have insurance in the vehicle. Do you have any questions for me?
Do I need to make a phone call?
You'll be able to make a phone call once you get processed, booked, photographed, fingerprinted. Okay, turn around for me. Hands back behind your back. How long?
About like a year or 2 ago.
No, how long did you fight though?
Oh, I thought for like...
Did you ever have your nose broken?
Yes.
11 years.
And I'll put me in to stand up for myself from bullying.
Do you want to talk to your mom? Do you want to tell her you got arrested? Yes. Okay. From boxing to bikini, huh? It's a good transition. I think you did the similar, didn't you? Yeah. I'm recording too, by the way.
A blood alcohol test administered to Brooke at the police station showed that her blood alcohol content was 0.4%, over twice the legal limit. Her license was suspended temporarily, and she had to spend the night in jail to become sober. The incident demonstrated how arrests can be conducted with dignity and respect for all those involved. This lovely meeting could have resulted in something else in another setting, but that night, fate had other intentions.